Yeah. Well, I think I'm. I can make a painting, a landscape painting. It's got nothing to do with me. I just want to make that painting. It's not to do with my life. It's not autobiographical. I can make paintings of things that are quite detached from sort of. It's not sort of a Tracy Emin like trajectory where her life is her art. That's not my. That doesn't really inspire me because I'm interested in too many things. Like, you know, the lives of these kids that I worked with. It's got nothing to do with me. I'm engrossed in their life, and I draw from so many different artists, but also through what I see, my observations. Like many artists, you have a lot of different influences, and they're quite disparate. Even living in the East and the things that I observe, I think don't want to define myself in any way, not by my ethnicity, not by my gender, not by my education. Always being open to everything, and I think that's why I have a lot of different styles. It's probably also because of my condition that I can slip into many different ways of working, but it's also by being wide open. When you become ill, what I think happens is doors in your mind which stay closed for people who are balanced and cohesive just become wide open. You know, I am going to go to an exhibition, but then I'm going to read a book about China and if China's going to take over the world. I mean, this is what informs you as a human being. I mean, forget being an artist, it's just about being curious. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I think it explains my position in the world. I don't just see myself in the contemporary art scene. I'm not in it. I don't see myself in it. I'm just this person who's trying to forge some kind of meaning and drawing on whatever I can to do that. Well, I know a few Bengali artists. Obviously, I've met Chris Afili. He was from Manchester Longsite, and I met him just before he won the Turner Prize, and then I met him a few times after that. And I'm friends with Yinka Shonabare, who's Nigerian, and Yinka and Chris Afili are obviously huge. They're mammoth, and Chris now is based in Trinidad, and Yinka's down the road. But apart from these few, and now Runa, there aren't that many, and it's almost not tokenistic, but it's almost as if, okay, the pie is very, very small, and the pie for ethnic minority artists is about that small, and so here's your crumb, and here's your crumb, and here's your crumb, and right, that's it now. You know, there can't be more than one or two or three of you. It's not possible for there to be 100 of us. And I'm thinking, but then when you go to Bangladesh, and there are so many artists who are doing well internationally, particularly in the States, it's just curious why in the UK and maybe even in Europe, why it's very hard for us to get in, particularly even if we've been born here and we're fluent in English and we're educated here, and it's sort of neither here nor there whether we're brown, yellow or black. It's about the work and if you're any good. And my dad always said to me, if you want to be good and successful, you can't just have one degree, you need 4 degrees to count. And I have a diploma, a bachelor, a BSc, an MSc, an MA and a BA, and still you're not quite good enough. Still you're not quite there yet. And that's why I dropped out of Chelsea, because I showed my tutor my 30-foot long panoramic, and she just looked at it and said, Sanchita, you're not you're not there yet. And then my experience at the Whitechapel show, the 0001, and I was saying, well, I want to show my dildo drawings, and I want to show the nudes of, and they're like, no, it was very much, well, I got the feeling they're pushing Runa, and there can only be one person that we push, there can't be two. And of course that's a bit frustrating, and you think, but what the hell do you have to do? I mean, what constitutes being a good artist? I don't quite get it. And then I thought, instead of me grappling and trying to fit, and I've obviously had very long conversations with Yinka, who is revered and respected, but he's treaded the path, if you like, by signing with the right gallery, and he got and Chris was with Victoria Miro, and Runa's with White Cube. So you have to play a certain game and to have a chance. And if you choose not to play that game, then forget it. But I think it's really important that we do try and carve other avenues and create parallel movements, which is what Pigment Explosion is all about. And the next project, which is really big, that could be the point where it could be the launch pad. But I'm ambivalent, because I'm thinking, well, actually, do I want to be known and recognised? Because I almost think that's like being straitjacketed, because then, you know, with Yinka, his USP is wrapping everything in African textiles. With Chris Ophelia, it was elephant dung. And the last show that I went to of his, there was no elephant dung. He was trying to do straight painting, and people were like, oh no, you know, bring back the elephant shit. And Runa's, you know, a filmmaker, but I think she doesn't have a USP as such, but maybe it's the fact that she's Bengali and, you know, Asian and a woman. So with me, that they try to say, you know, Bangladeshi artist on Brick Lane, and I'm like, no, chuck all that away, and I'm irrelevant. It is about my work. That's why I shouldn't even be in the picture. And then somebody could come and look at a piece, and they wouldn't have any idea my gender, my origin, my anything. They would just look at the work. And I think all that has to be binned. All the ethnic, female, male, all of it's irrelevant. It is just about what you create, and then what people draw from that. Because once you start putting personalities with the work, then the personalities can eclipse the work. And to me, that's not the way I want to go. Well, I mean, in a way, it's sort of a blessing and a curse. My mother was extremely unconventional in the way that she brought us up. Although she came from quite a religious background, and my late father and my stepfather, even my dad, he was also extremely liberal. And there's no reason why they would be so liberal, because they weren't from that tradition of liberalism. It was just very, very left field why my mother decided to bring us up the way that she did. But her ethos was quite simple. To be a good Muslim is to be a good human being. That's it. I mean, and then she just wanted us to be empowered through having a good education, and also you can marry whoever you want as long as they're not thick. That's what my dad said. So that was the basis of my upbringing, and we were not told what you're not supposed to do and what you're supposed to do. We had to work that out for ourselves. So it was like being given a huge blank canvas, and so it was up to us if we wanted to. My parents did take us to Bangladesh twice when we were very small, but it was only me who kept on going back, not my other sisters, until recently. My little sister did go for the first time after, 13 years. But I had this calling, and it wasn't so much about the people, because I'm in this area, and I've even won Miss Bangladesh, through my modelling days. But but I never felt part of the community or accepted. But I was very sort of drawn to Bengali people and wanted to talk to them and wanted to find out about them. And it was only through conceiving these projects that I could access groups. Otherwise, I wouldn't have any access to Bengali elders or street kids, or how could I access them? Because whenever I meet other Bengalis, it's always not enough to be Bangladeshi. It's you have to be from Sylhet, and then if you're not from Sylhet, you're not part of the gang. So it's like being a minority within a minority. So this whole idea of cultural identity is a nebulous thing. I'm like, well, what is it? I am British Bengali, but then what does that mean exactly? And because my surname's Islam and I'm born Muslim, but then my parents have brought me up with this completely different ethos of what it means to be a Muslim, which is the total antithesis of what most of the Bengalis around here believe a Muslim to be. It's very sort of a tricky situation for me. But I personally think that I'm in a privileged situation because I've got access to the ghetto and I've got access to glamorous circles, and then it's for me to comment on that and then to share it. But certainly I feel Bengali, and I have a connection with Bangladesh, and it's a very special connection. It's to do with the land and the smells and the sights and the feeling that generates inside me. And it's the same living here. It's not that I have millions of Bengali friends. I don't. I probably have two or three, if that. It's just seeing them and seeing that jackfruit spilling on the floor and being able to buy my chilies and speaking a bit of Bengali with Kazar at Frameland, and that giving me a bit of joy, and speaking my mother tongue really badly, but just attempting to speak it, and even writing Bengali. I can't read or write Bengali, but in my work I write the text because I can't describe it. It soothes me. It's almost as if I was born here, but I have a connection with all of that, which is just innate. But it's very special to me and it's very distinct. But at the same time, I'm an outsider. Just as I'm an outsider with the whole YBA thing, and if you like, Runa's been embraced in the club. It's the same here. I'm not part of this Bengali community, but I live here. So, but I'm very curious. It's like a rabbit wanting to play with the lions. I would like to play with you and to engage with you, but we're not supposed to mix. But that doesn't mean that I don't want to. I'm not allowed to, but I'll still find a way to get in there, to observe and comment on it and connect in the way that I can within those constraints. Openness. Yeah, I think it's openness and being having your eyes wide open. When I wrote a piece when I was in Bangladesh called The Third Dimension, and I said, being in Bangladesh, it was like being in the world. That being in London is two-dimensional, but Bangladesh is so visceral, just so vibrant. There's so much noise and commotion, and it's like being on a permanent high because every street corner is a potential, photograph or painting or film set, and just being receptive to that, you're in touch with something which is very heartfelt and quite profound. And some people are not sensitive to that. They're just like, oh well, it's just like, what is this? This is too much. Or they don't know how to respond to it. They don't know how to comment on it. Whereas I have this facility. I'll see something, I can write 2 pages about it, or I can, photograph it, or I can film it. I have that. That is what I've been given, and that to me informs who I am as a human being. But beyond those parameters, just being interested in Bangladesh, then I moved it to being beyond that, to being interested in the world and being interested in people and connecting with people, particularly those on the edges, on the margins, those who are ignored, and those who don't count. They really count, because it's what they think and how they see the world that's you know, you don't want to see a movie about a really rich, successful person. It's the movie about that Danny Boyle's movie about the slumdog millionaire. I mean, it's just won a huge award, and that's about a kid who's got nothing, who wins the national lottery. Those are the things that we're interested in. But then in real life, those are the people that we shun, and that's what, for me, informs my sensibility. And if I wasn't receptive to that, then I may as well just pack it all in. You know, if I'm only interested in fame and acquiring money and prizes, then what's that about? You know, I don't need any more stuff or any more things. For me, it's keeping your mind supple and moist, and always sort of, you know, got your finger on the pulse wherever you are. So it goes beyond just being Bengali and being interested in things that are all Bangladeshi, whatever that is. Well, it's